Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fintech Frenzy. Sorry, just doing my audio here. All right, should be good. We should be live. All right, let's first, do we just want to jump right into SoFi news, or do we need to calm some nerves about stock movements and the pricing? Don't say late. It's still 8:30, dude. Don't start saying late. You're going to start getting people to think, once they rewatch this, that this was not at 8:30. This is exactly at 8:30. All right. On a fear and greed scale, we have hit the extreme fear mark. That's how the market ended up closing the day. Ugh. But during these times, you have to decide what you need the money for, and if potentially you think that the reasons that we were investing in the markets before continue to be the reasons that are pushing the markets going forward. Now, companies like SoFi are a little bit interest rate sensitive, and if that changes, that does actually change SoFi's potential real fundamental outlook, especially into 2025. Won't change anything for Q4 or anything along these lines, but it might actually change the way we see 2025 guidance. Would be nice to see some clarifying remarks from Anthony, Noto, and team on guidance, but we'll have to wait for January there. All right. Now, there was a Morgan Stanley $13.50 price target that actually came from them. Let me see if I can bring up tip ranks if they show this update. But I have the remarks. I have their EPS targets for 2025 and 2026. And guys, this will blow you away on what they're thinking for this company right now. It's just crazy. So on a $13.50 price range, they are expecting... Here, wait, let me see if I can bring this up. This is just crazy. Well, we're going to talk about it on two different perspectives. So one is going to be some of their own remarks, and then we'll talk about the financials. So up from $7.50, let's go ahead and show this off real quick. One, I think that it's interesting. A lot of their valuations here are all on price to sales. Okay, so they're valuing it on a segment basis, like a sum of all parts, and doing it all on a price to sales basis, which just seemingly I find just changes from analyst to analyst on how they sort of justify increasing the stock up, or their price targets on the stock up 73%. They say stuff like this. Our underweight call has clearly not worked over the past few months as we underestimated upside potential of the company's new capital light loan platform business, as well as animal spirits post-election. We remained underweight we remain underweight, even though we were super wrong, as a relative call to the group on valuation looking rich at these levels. 37 times 2026 EPS. 37 times would be expensive. That'd be a lot. Okay. But let's see what they mean by 37 times, because that does seem like a very high valuation. Let's go ahead and bring this up. So they were looking at a couple different EPS targets for different companies here. That's what they meant by this entire group. But why don't we just pick SoFi out of the mix here? Well, you can see 2025 EPS, 26 cents. That might be the street low. I've seen anywhere from 28 cents to 34 cents. 26 cents seems to be incredibly low, and that actually is up from their last remark at 24 cents. Unreal. Okay. And then over here, once again, no changes to their outlook from like 2025. They increased by 2 cents. 2026, still 2 cents. Okay. They went from 39 cents in 2026 to 41 cents. This is who we're betting against. Do you understand this? Like 41 cents, and SoFi's own management guidance is calling for 55 cents to 80 cents of EPS in 2026. We're not even in the same ballpark. Okay. This would need to grow 50% for them to just be in the bear ranges of what SoFi is saying, for which very few analysts are even pointing to 55 cents. I think there's like two that even say that it's even remotely in Anthony Noto in teams range. And one of those is Dan Dolev. I think the other one is, if I bring up tip ranks, I'll know immediately. Is it John Act? Who's he work for again? Let me go see. Once I see his face, I'll know. And I think he has it at exactly 55 cents. There are zero analysts that place it anywhere near the high side of EPS that SoFi is predicting. I personally have it higher than what what's called than what SoFi is saying, because that's always what has happened. John Act of Jeffries, yeah. What if the best macro environment that we've seen in 7 years doesn't pan out as expected for SoFi? Well, I mean, I think we're definitely seeing an aspect of that right now. If so, Fed commentary is one thing. The actual thing that we get out of the Fed is another, right? So I showed that image from yesterday. It's very hard to sort of predict these things. So, but yeah, if we don't see it, it's not going to be as good as what we thought. Okay. The nice thing about this is that the expectations that SoFi usually has is super conservative, which is good and bad, because 2025 expectations from them could be much more conservative than even Wallstreet is thinking, because that's just the way that they play it. And then they need to show every quarter that they're doing better than that. But the truth is that like it wouldn't be as good if things go that direction. No, B-dubs, I get you, brother. I get you. Yeah, these are the type of questions that we need to answer for ourselves. I saw yesterday, whenever I was talking about buying up Google and Amazon, everyone was like, well, Tanner, do you think that those companies are going to outperform SoFi? And it's like, okay, well, comparing like mega cap stocks to mid cap stocks usually do not outperform the mid cap stocks, but they usually like the cruise ships have a much easier time facing the waves than these little paddle boats. Okay. So I think when things are uncertain, they are absolutely better at handling the storm. I've been buying SoFi the last 2 days. I know a lot of people that have been buying a lot of SoFi. Um, I'm holding. I haven't sold. I haven't made any positions, but I do agree with B-dubs. Like things can continue to correct, but also we still did get our rate cut. We still are going to see rate cuts into 2025. It's just the opposite. If we ever see them hike rates again, that's no bueno. I think in any other environment, SoFi will thrive. I think steady rates, declining rates, the only ones that don't work is increasing rates, and then like an extreme fall off of rates. Like if they were to have a meeting or an emergency meeting where they're cutting 75, 100 basis points, anything even more than that, like some unbelievable correction, then that wouldn't even be good for SoFi as well. But yeah. It better stay above 1493. I mean, we can hope, but the truth is, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to do. Does SoFi have small business yet? No, they probably won't even in 2025 from the sounds of it. They are seemingly wanting to go pretty slow here. And I have thoughts about this. So they've been talking about just going into referral everything, right? Which is good. It's all margin accretive, easy growth. But is that moat setting? Like, is there anything defensible about what you're doing in that case? So like sort of the problem there is like, um, I think actually getting the business banking accounts is what allows you to then cross sell into multiple things. Yeah, you may be able to, even for a couple $1 million, refer them elsewhere, but then you get no recurring business. That's why companies like Amex and Novo and all of these ones are willing to pay SoFi for that reoccurring business because it'll last longer than the one time upfront fee. But if they are really trying hard to hit EPS targets and just try to stay profitable, then referral business is, easy money. So I hope that they continue to have very long-term targets and build things for the long term, and they still do. I'm not trying to say that there's any shift here, but um, the companies that focus on the 10-year goal less than the quarterly goals are usually the ones that I prefer to invest in. You know, you see that in a lot of very exceptional companies like the new banks of the world or the um, Adyens or Shopify's or all of these ones where they sort of make plays to uh, make decade long changes in their margins rather than quarterly ones. Why do I have strong confidence on SoFi? Well, I did a video I've done 100 videos on this, but I did a video on this very recently. I think that they have a very strong defensible moat in their space. Um, and that might not be around small to mid-sized banking, but in around the products that they actually do handle in. Here, let me see what the title of that video is, and then I can throw it in the chat. But something around, yeah, this. So maybe you want to bookmark that for later. But I just put it in the chat. This was a video that I did on the different catalysts. Or sorry, that was not even the video. Was that the video? Nope, sorry. No, it wasn't. My bad. Okay. This one. SoFi stocks moat the competitive advantage that Wall Street missed. The other one is the catalyst for 2025. So sorry, I had a conversation recently where I made this bear case video and everyone was wondering like, oh, okay, you did all the things that are wrong with SoFi, now do all the things that are right. That's what is potentially everything right for 2025. But the video that I just posted was about their moat. For the most part, like the way that SoFi has made money has been looking for the hard ways to make money that are recurring and that are sticky and high margin, but very time consuming, like not renting a charter, right? Like those are one of the most important ones. You only see like 3 fintechs that have ever done this in the States. And it's super important that, they continue to do that as they grow. It's just a little bit weird whenever I see some products that they're creating, like, all the referral stuff and not writing that as business for themselves. In what range do you think Noto will use the loan he received from Goldman to buy shares? I'm not 100% sure that he will. I just think that could be a possibility, but he may not. It could be for taxes for his performance-based stock units that could be coming up in 2026. Yeah, I'm in the end of the day, for this question right here, analysts giving us low ratings, does it help or hurt us whenever we beat them? It just is null and void, and it actually just lets institutions speak for themselves or decide for themselves on SoFi's, prices whenever analysts continuously get it wrong. Like, for example, SoFi, even over the last little bit, was a higher price target than the highest price target on Wall Street. Well, why is that? Because institutions are running in and they're saying, hey, these people are wrong. They're not going to get 41 cents of EPS in 2026, and it's probably going to destroy that. So why am I taking into account their research? Jack, honestly, for the most part, I completely agree with you. I don't think it's a big conspiracy that they're trying to do this to hurt SoFi. I genuinely think that it's a lot of bank analysts that just simply look at the company wrong. I don't think that they value the moat. Okay, I think that they're looking at potentially high defaulting unsecured personal loans being written by a company, and they're seeing other companies do that, and they're going, okay, well, we'll just compare them one to one. Lending Club is cheaper. And I don't think that they're giving any value to the tech platform, the advantage, the potential benefits of AI, any level of brand. Like brand and culture is a real thing. Who goes to work at Lending Club and feels like energized about their work while they're there, or Lending Tree, or any of these, you know, unsecured personal loan companies? Like they don't. But there's a lot of SoFi employees that love working at SoFi that have like personally reached out to me to be like, "Hey, we love this company. We're working hard because we're changing the world." Um, and that's awesome. But no, I don't think that it's a big. I'm actually on the side that I don't think it's a big conspiracy. What's my estimate for revenue on the upcoming quarter? I don't have a number yet, but I'll be putting out a video soon. I'll have to go through and actually take a look at it. I have not been doing that though. New bank to 6 due to Trump tariffs. No. No. No, Nubank's a sweet company, and um, I think I'm going to get the price that I've been eyeing, which is single digits, which is going to be very exciting, honestly. I think that's very exciting. This market setback is killing me. It's been like a couple days. Are you guys not green as shit on your portfolio? Like, I'm still super, super green. Everyone goes, oh, well, there's going to be a correction at some point. Like, these are going to happen. These things happen, you know? And then it happens, and you're like, oh, I'm ripping out my hair. It's like, I don't know. Maybe this is why we're not all in options and everything like this, to sort of ramp up your riskiness. Because then whenever it does turn, then, it's going to hurt more than what I'm doing. But yeah, we're green. We're green, baby. Enjoy. This is the market. How does this quarter point rate cut affect SoFi positively? Whenever you're talking about the quarter point rate cut, the problem with this quarter point rate cut is that you also got a lowering of 50 basis points in 2025. Sorry, um, or I guess you could say a raise in the Fed funds rate by 50 basis points in 2025, meaning less cuts going forward. That's the part that is not as beneficial for SoFi. And some people can say it's good and bad, whatever. Like, the loans that are written now at lower coupons will be worse for SoFi going forward. Not one to one, because maybe defaults change, maybe prepayment changes, all of these things. But um, the existing loan book, for which SoFi got pretty sizable, was or will be better priced whenever rates get cut. Yeah, you can be greedy. That's fine. I'm not taking away from anyone's fun in the markets. I just think whenever it starts to affect, like, I don't know, your own happiness, or you're not sleeping at night, it's like, that's never been my strategy. Any other questions, or should we move on to some other news? Let's see. You're not a degen. That's why we're all here, because we all are. I like the thought of that, but got some Robinhood news for you here really quick, because obviously the stock is getting greatly affected if people think that equities are not going to be as hot or trading as much. But I am once again not selling this one either. This is one still going to benefit off a longer term bull run, in my opinion. I don't think that that's over. But also, this is just a great benefactor to, this great wealth transfer that we're having from the most amount of money that is being passed down to potential younger generations. So, anyway, speaking of younger generations, bonk. It sounds silly, which it absolutely is. It's a complete meme token, but that doesn't mean that it's not being traded. And Bonk's market cap is bigger than you guys would think. Let me see here. I'm pretty sure it's actually okay. Sorry, I was going to say it's lower than I thought, but that's the volume that was traded in the last 24 hours. It's at a $3.4 billion market cap. Oh, sorry. No, I guess the data thing gave it to me wrong. I'm looking at it directly on CoinMarketCap. It says 2.2 billion, but 720 million traded in the last 24 hours of bonk. So fun, and a massive increase in their volume in the last 24 hours. So that's probably coming from Robinhood. Santa can still come. I'm not saying he's not, but I also have no clue either. We're just gonna have to see. Please give us the gist on SoFi in the end. What does that mean? I'll check Fartcoin. I'll check what the market cap is. I can't imagine. Oh gosh, I'm gonna be. Yeah, only 1.2 billion. Only 1.2 billion. So everyone's favorite fart coin is not doing as well, and the market cap is up 40. Wait, the market cap is up 49% in the last. How long? Not the last 24 hours. Okay, but the volume's up 65% in the last 24 hours. Jeez. Gone with the wind. All right. Am I confident that 2026 numbers will be held up? Yes. Am I confident that he will say those numbers? Not guaranteed. But I am confident that it'll be the same range if he does say it. Yeah, I'm sure they gave that price target with incredible amounts of conservatism. So there's nothing changing between this point and then. When is Q4 earnings? Probably late January, like 29th of January. I don't think it'll be higher. I mean, he might lower the lower bound range, but I don't think he'll increase the 80 cents. Would it though? Would it? It's not like Wall Street is believing it now. Why would they believe it next quarter? Like, we literally just had an analyst come out today and say 41 cents. 41 cents. They're expecting 55 on the bottom line. If they change it from 55 to 60, what happens? Does Morgan Stanley come out and remotely change what they're thinking? They're already calling them a BSer. Yeah, other news as well. Robinhood just made everyone's margin a little bit cheaper. They quickly adjusted to the Fed's fund rate target and lowered. So if you got $50 million at SoFi, 4.7%, or sorry, 4.7%, if you have $50 million of margin with Robinhood, not with SoFi. A lot of just price target questions. Guys, it's really not how I invest. It's really not. I know everyone, you guys get nervous during these times. I wouldn't. Or I mean, it depends. It depends on your time horizon. I don't like to give other people financial advice. But personally, as a long-term investor trying to pick a handful of the best fintech companies, I'm not touching SoFi stock in that way. Caught alive. What's up? Future investing fam. Do I use margin at all? What do you guys think? No. No, I don't. Well, I think they will have SMB banking to get to become a top. And by the way, it's a top 10 US bank by market cap. I think that it's a complete misquote. You can find a quote from their, I almost know the exact date. I think it's like May 18th, 2022, because I've looked up this quote so many times. It's May of 2022. I'm going to call it May 18th. JP Morgan Technology Conference. SoFi was there. And he specifically says top 10 bank, US bank by market cap. Do I use margin? Everyone, no. Yeah, you guys are smart. Elizabeth saying that their money's in SoFi for the long term. My money's with Noto. Nice. I like that. Do I buy any ETFs? If so, what do I prefer? I use a Vanguard ETF that allows me to buy the S&P 500, but in Canadian dollars, so I don't have to face the exchange as hard. At least it's not as expensive as how much they can get it for, and then it's in the expense ratio, and the expense ratio is lower than what I'd pay. So, yeah. And then I've got a couple other funds, not necessarily, but they're more for options trading. That Stephen Fiorillo has got me into. So are you so disciplined as to not buy in on a downturn until a stock reaches your preferred target price? I mean, to some degree. Like, I don't always set price target. I mean, if my I don't think it comes down to an exact science. It's more just gut feeling in some cases. But I think for Nubank, like there's going to be some level of sell off there, and it's probably more than what we're already seeing. And so I do think that I can get it into the nines. It got down as low as 10.20. Like if I was trying to hit 9.99, the difference between 10.20, I wouldn't give a crap. But yeah, sometimes I buy just on a small correction, or I'll try to buy on the way up. It's harder, but I do. Okay, sorry. Who is growing safely? SoFi versus Hood versus New? I'd say Nubank, probably. They probably have the largest margin of safety. Not in their valuation, but as a company. Hood's pretty good there as well. I'd probably put SoFi as last place just because they're unsecured personal loans with a cap ratio at 16%. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. But you're putting that up against a company that has essentially no debt products, small, tiny credit card, a little bit of margin that is partly secured by the underlying stocks that people are actually purchasing. And then Nubank is just in a whole other league. Why the big dip on New? Bad macro. Brazil is doing a lot of quantitative tightening. So they're trying to take some money out of the money supply, trying to increase rates. It's just hard for them during that time. And then on top of that, they have some market saturation issues just on the credit card side. But like you look at SoFi New Invest, their brokerage side, and it's like the fastest growing product this quarter. And so they're always going to be, trying to make money in different avenues. SoFi very similarly, but Nubank at a bigger scale. What's the best buy between the three? That's a hard question. I'd place Nubank as number one, and then I don't know where I'd put the other two. I'd probably put SoFi as number two and then Hood number three. Maybe, but that would be close. Hood just because they're just benefiting so greatly off of what is moving right now. And then if that slowed down, the company could get corrected pretty quickly. I don't think that that's what's happening with SoFi. Hi there. What's the real value of SoFi stock per share? What do you mean? Like what do I think that the fair value should be, or like what's the tangible book value? The real value, or the fair value, I think, for SoFi is probably somewhere getting very close to $20. Probably a little under that right now until we see Q4. But if I were to assume that Q4 is pretty good, it'd probably place it into $20. But companies can go much higher than their fair value. Fair value does not mean top end. That does not mean like, oh, we invest to fair value and then we sell, right? Because if we buy all the way to $20, well, now we just have a company that's growing at 30+% with great margins expanding. Did I talk Crossroads into doing YouTube? Partly. I was definitely one of the big voices there, but I think a lot of people were. Google and Amazon strong plays for 2025. This is my guy. That's exactly what I'm doing. Do you guys want to see a piece of news on Google that happened today? I literally have it on my screen already. Apptronic partners with Google's DeepMind. Okay. Google DeepMind Robotics to accelerate advancements on AI-powered humanoid robots. So Apptronics makes these robots. Google DeepMind, obviously, going to help bring a lot of that research and understanding and maturity to this. Crazy. Crazy. Yeah. I've just been going through all the different like moonshot projects that Google's been doing, like Wing, like Waymo, like their quantum computing. It's so cool. It's super cool. Is VFV the ETF that you were referring to earlier? Yes. Will we be cyborgs by 2026? I don't know about that. There's actually not a whole lot of projects that seemingly are going for like that sort of stuff. I remember there was like a small stint of that where people were starting to put electronics in their body, and then everyone stopped, and now it's just a lot of wearables, which I think is less invasive. But maybe just the robots don't have to be a part of us at all. They could just be separate and doing their own things. Well, if I had to make an argument for why SoFi is overvalued, what would you say it is? I did an entire video on SoFi's 2025 bear cases. But it would probably be something along those lines that, you know, SoFi is essentially trying to predict their earnings and then classifying it as real earnings as it comes in. And if they ever get that wrong, it could be a big slap on the wrist. So if prepayment or something like that goes up and then SoFi has to rewrite their fair value marks down, that'd be pretty bad. And I would say that SoFi is overvalued because they're far away from their tangible book value or something like this. Should I buy another 50 shares of SoFi tonight? You do whatever you like to do. I don't know you. Do you think SoFi will turn to $17 before January 17th? Connor, you need help, brother. I'm not here to figure out whether you should. And then you go, Tanner told me to hold on to my options. And now I'm selling the house and my wife is divorcing me and my kids are hungry. Dude, I am not making your decisions for you. I promote buying growth equities. I absolutely do, but I also promote not crazy risky investments because downturns like this don't make you scream into your pillow at night. Especially whenever you're investing with, like everyone says, invest with only money that you'd be willing to lose. Like every dollar, other than my house, like every dollar I have is invested in the stock market. I would be beside myself if I lost it. So I don't even agree with that sentiment of like only like I buy things that I would be pissed if they went to zero. I'm just also betting on the idea that, Nvidia, Google, Tesla, like all these different companies are not going to zero. I am putting some faith in the United States economy because even if it doesn't do well, like what's the currency even worth at that point anyway? So, it was like whenever people were talking about like bonds and why they should be buying like government bonds. It's like, okay, well, they've always paid you back. And if they don't, what's your dollar worth anyways if they don't pay you back? It's shit either way. So, like, Muhammad's 100% invested as well. You kind of have to be a little bit, but I'm not. Oh, I shouldn't say that, but It's right for me. I'm young. If I lose it all, I'll go back to work. For someone who's retired or something like this, maybe think otherwise, but it's just the way that I see it. I'm only talking from my own experiences, which is limited. Um, are there any new stocks that'll get a weekly series? That is so. I remember reading about this French investor that put like $40 million into the Trump election bet, and he said like there was statistics on asking people whether they were voting for Trump, and then they'd be like, "No, I'm not voting for Trump," and then they say, "Who do you think your neighbor's voting for?" And then they'd say Trump, and he was going off of the "Who do you think your neighbor would vote for?" So this is hilarious. This reminds me of this, where you're like kind of asking, you're like, "Hey, what stocks are you buying next?" And I'm like, you know, what's what companies are you making a weekly show for next? And I'm like, I got you. um, the only other weekly series that I think I've really tried to start and try to find people for was a Nubank weekly, a Shopify weekly. However, there was going to be zero people that watched it, but I've always wanted to do a Shopify weekly. Um, and then I probably not a weekly, but I probably will turn the fintech frenzy into a tech frenzy. Um, yeah. Palantir needs a weekly. Well, you're in luck because it has one. Um, but what's it called? So I was just about to say, oh yeah, I'll probably just pivot this show into a technology frenzy because on days like today, whenever the news is um, Robinhood has created a bonk coin, it doesn't get me all that excited. I've been reading all about Google and Amazon and everything like this lately, so kind of want to get a lot of that off my chest and do that. I did want to do an e-commerce sort of thing with Melly, Amazon, Shopify, a couple other names, but yeah. Biotech frenzy. I you see maybe Tevis can head that up, but kind of like it. That's kind of cool. An emerging markets frenzy. The problem is I'm not actually like super big into emerging markets. I have Nubank and I've got Melly, but like I know a couple guys that have some Indian names, some uh China companies, some Korean companies, some Japanese companies. I'm kind of just like all in the Americas that I yeah. I was thinking maybe I have something, but I don't. Um Who's someone on YouTube that I look up to? I don't know. I don't really watch a lot of YouTube that much anymore. Um, yeah, I watch a lot of like fitness content. To be honest, right now, that's like if I were to go through my like YouTube Shorts or something, it's all just like here's this exercise that you should do, or here's this equipment that's good for home gyms. Stock out. Well, the one thing I definitely do not do is watch other SoFi creators. Um, just because like Cover the company pretty extensively. Elijah says, "What's your trading split right now, bro?" Everything's like, "Hello, hello, hello, Mr. Manson." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm working out." And they're like, "So, bro, what's your routine?" I just turned into a gym bro that quickly. Workout frenzy. Well, I did want to do like I was going to create an entirely new channel around fitness. But yeah. Here, this is not even a video that I've seen, but supposedly here, let's see how long this is. If it's around 5 minutes, I'll want to watch it. 23 minutes. Never mind. I'll watch that later and distill it and then take some parts. But Dan Dolev was on Yahoo Finance talking about Robinhood being the perfect Trump stock. Who's more bullish on SoFi, me or Tevis? Probably Tevis. Probably Tevis. He has a larger percentage of his portfolio in SoFi. I worked out once, it hurt. Yeah. That's true. Tevis sold. I've never sold. That's true. He sold 10% of his portfolio. Or it was kind of a broad market sell-off, so then he can take part in his options that he had from his work. But yeah, I think it was sort of a broad-based sell-off from his whole portfolio. Well, I gave you 4 chances to correct what you were saying. I don't even see a comment that you've posted in the last little bit, and I've been scrolling. It's a top 10 financial institution, not a top 10 US bank. Okay, you gave me 4 chances to correct what I said. Okay, well, you are wrong. So I'll literally go find the quote. You guys remember? You remember what I said yesterday? People correcting me, and then they correct me into being wrong? You remember that? Let's go find this, because now I'm upset. I don't mind being stood corrected, but then you better come with the facts. You better be 100% confident. And I hope this person is. Okay, I'll read you the exact quote. Ready? This is from Anthony Noto at the JP Morgan Technology, Media, and Communications Conference on May of 2022. So, 5 years from now, I'd be really disappointed if we haven't added a significant number of members. We reported last quarter just over 5 million members. So if we started adding, 1 million a quarter in the next couple of years, you could easily be at the next 20 million plus mark. We could easily be in the 20 million plus member range. I'd hope that we'd have at least 2 products per member. That means somewhere at 4, or some are at 4 and some are at 1. I'd hope that we were well into the top 10 financial institutions as it relates to banks from a scale of market cap, as well as other metrics that people use to rank banks. So just because he says the word financial institution does not mean that he's including freaking Visa and MasterCard. He said, well into the top 10 financial institution as it relates to banks from a scale of market cap. You just got the Karen Weekly. So I appreciate you giving me 4 chances to correct myself, but I only needed to read off 1 quote directly from the JP Morgan Technology Conference, for which you probably have not read. And I've read every transcript that SoFi has had twice over. Tanner upset because he couldn't choke out Steve. Dude, The only reason why Steve did not get choked out is because I was in a foreign country and I would have been locked up in a US prison. He would have no chance getting around these hands. Okay? Weapons. I have to register them. In fairness to the criticizer, don't they say if they continue to add members, they hope to be in the top 10? I didn't understand that quote. Well, yeah, he's just saying that over the next 5 years from now, he believes that they are going to get to 20 million plus members and 2 products each. So he could easily see them being a top 10 financial institution as it relates to banks by market cap. I don't know, Marvin. The true answer is I don't know what the barrier to entry is for SMB. We've only had a couple of statements that have been said from management. Like there was one quote that talked about, you know, them needing to please regulators in consumer before they could ask to get into SMB. So part of it is a regulatory issue. Um, you know, there's probably some level of them not wanting to outlay a bunch of capital in another area. Maybe they don't want to get into business loans or these sort of things. Who knows? It's not a different license. They've got the right license, but maybe they still need approval. Not a 20x in members. They said 20 million members. 20 million members is a 2x in members. Are they afraid it won't work without a brick and mortar presence? Absolutely not. No, there's a ton of digital only corporate bank accounts that you can set up, all that do not have brick and mortar. Now there are SMBs that require for there to be brick and mortar, but those just won't be SoFi's audience. But like still, like Amit's got a you know, small business as like his media company through YouTube. Why would he need brick and mortar? I don't know why that was my first example, but like, why would they need brick and mortar? You think DoorDash needs brick and mortar? I don't think so. Yeah, but that's specifically your business. What if you're just a digital business? I own a company. I don't need brick and mortar. I have a charge card and I've got an online account. You'll need some expense management tools, stuff like this, but that can be handled. Look at Mercury or Brex or Novo or any of those ones. They don't have brick and mortar, not to my knowledge. I'm pretty sure those are all SMB fintechs, and they've got mass amounts of clients. um, how do I send money on SoFi Like Cash App or PayPal. What? Marvin, some of your comments are confusing me. Yeah, you can use Zelle through SoFi. Do I think? Oh, that's a good question. Do I think that SoFi will do any other acquisitions over the next couple of years? So I was not anticipating both Wyndham Capital and Technisys. Um, so like, yes, absolutely. I do think that there will be more acquisitions. Anthony Noto has seemed to enjoy that type of growth. So I believe that we'll see more. In what area? I don't know. The only ones that I can like clearly see would be like something like, merging with Apex Fintech or something like this. But that would be a big, big step. And they might end up going with probably a smaller brokerage like they usually do and acquire something for $100 million or something instead of merging with a company that's worth $4 billion. Wouldn't it make sense to... Marvin, you're killing me, brother. Yeah, SoFi used to own, yeah, you're right, a percentage of Apex. They had a minority share in them. Apex Fintech, not Apex Legends. They help set up brokerages. They do the clearing. They help set up the accounts. And so the reason why I say that one is because Galileo is sort of becoming that AWS of financial services. And I think that one of those ways that they could expand their offering is to also not only do the card programs, the back end technology, but then also start setting up other value added services. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll end it here. Um, Stay calm in this investing journey. Even if you're new, this is not a 1 year thing. This is a very lifelong journey. Okay. Um, it works whenever it's a little bit delayed, right? Delayed gratification is uh, always successful for a reason. So, although it's very exciting or can be a little bit nerving whenever things move quickly up or down, um, try to buy things that work for the long term and spend the rest of your time reevaluating those decisions and making sure that what you are buying is what you thought it was, that it is a market setting position, not just by listening to their own commentary, because literally, if you go to essentially any company and listen to their earnings call, they can all present a story of how great they are. Okay. It's good to sort of compare the two and say, you know what, this one really does have a moat, and this is the reasons why this might not be very easy to replicate. SoFi Weekly is not tomorrow, Sigig. Thank you so much for this. Saturday is the SoFi Weekly this week. Saturday. Thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate your time. Nick Moss, you did make me leave. Bye for now. I'm kidding.